Hey there, folks. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder. If you want to keep exploring ancient history with us, make sure to follow the channel. Support us by subscribing, liking, and commenting. It really helps us out, and you'll never miss an episode. The fall of a great Roman city. Ephesus was once one of the largest cities in the Roman Empire. It boasted monumental architecture and impressive infrastructure. An artificial harbour, a world-famous library, bustling shopping streets, a chariot racetrack, and a grand theatre. But its glory didn't last. Today it's nothing but ruins.
Unlike other major Roman cities that remained inhabited and grew into massive modern metropolises, Ephesus was abandoned. So what happened? What caused its decline and eventual disappearance? Ephesus sat in a fertile valley in western Turkey. Long ago, this valley had been a bay connected to the Mediterranean Sea. More on that later. First, let's get our bearings. Here are the Roman ruins, and over there is the modern town of Selçuk.
The original ancient Greek city was built around Ayasuluk Hill. If we had Google Earth 2,000 years ago, the area would have looked very different. That's where the Temple of Artemis once stood, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world.
From the top of a nearby mountain, looking out over the city, you would have seen a sprawling metropolis of about 250,000 people. By the Roman period, the cult of Artemis had already been around for over 1,000 years. The temple on that site had been destroyed and rebuilt several times, but the final version was the largest and grandest, the one that earned its place among the 7 wonders.
It stood for over 500 years until disaster struck.
In 262 AD, the Goths attacked Ephesus. They looted the temple and burned its wooden supports. That same year, the Library of Celsus was destroyed, likely due to the invasion, and a massive earthquake caused further damage. More earthquakes followed in the 4th century, weakening the city, yet it bounced back as a prosperous Byzantine center.
By then, Christianity had taken root.
Ephesus became a major Christian hub. The Virgin Mary is said to have spent her final years in a nearby home. St. John wrote his Gospel here, and St. Paul lived here for a time. There's even the legend of the 7 sleepers, young men who hid in a cave during pagan persecution and awoke 200 years later to find the city fully Christian.
Ephesus remained wealthy during Byzantine times, but a slow, silent killer was at work, its harbour.
Over centuries, the river carried silt into the bay, creating swamps and pushing the coastline farther west. By 600 BC, the original Greek city had been on the waterfront. By the Hellenistic era, they had to move the city because the old harbour was silting up and turning into a malaria-ridden swamp. When the Romans took over in 129 BC, they engineered an artificial harbour and dug channels to keep it connected to the sea. But the silt never stopped coming. Constant dredging was needed to keep the port functional. A never-ending battle they eventually lost.
Nature won, the harbour died, and without it so did the city's economic power. By the Middle Ages, people just didn't have the resources the Romans once did. No vast funds, no armies of slave labour to quarry new stone.
Instead, they stripped abandoned Roman buildings for ready-made materials, a practice called spolia. The Great Hippodrome, for example, was dismantled, and its marble seats were reused to build the massive Basilica of St. John on Ayasuluk Hill.
Paganism and Christianity coexisted here for centuries, but by the late 4th century, Emperor Theodosius banned pagan rituals, closed temples, and even ended the Olympic Games. The Temple of Artemis was shut down in 391 and destroyed a decade later by an angry Christian mob. Thousands of tons of marble vanished, likely reused elsewhere. The city's final decline came in the 7th century when Arab raids pushed people inland. The old harbour could only take small boats by then, and the population collapsed. By the time the Seljuk Turks arrived in 1090, the main settlement was around the Basilica of St. John. And when Crusaders passed through in 1147, they found not a busy port city, but a ghost town.
Over time, Ephesus, it faded from memory. Most of it was eventually buried.
In 1863, a British architect rediscovered the site and excavations began.
Even now, 90% of the ancient city remains underground. Ironically, its slow decline and abandonment preserved it as one of the best examples of a Roman city.
Today, visitors can walk its ancient streets, sit in its grand theatre, and imagine the world that once thrived here. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this journey through time. Don't forget to follow the channel and stay tuned for more stories from the past. Please subscribe.